oh, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. Oh, this isn't so good. And oh, wait, it's not so good. This is not something I hear all the time. What are you talking about?
What do you think of the saying, never start writing until you know the ending?
I think it's a good rule for a lot of people. I think sometimes people don't write because of stuff like that, though, and I think that's not a good answer. I think there's savants out there. I don't think Stephen King knows his endings. I think there is people out there that can break that rule for sure. And some people, if they know the ending, somehow it stops them from getting creative in the beginning, so that also can get in the way of certain people. But you got to know the story. You got to know the story you're telling for the most part, usually. But if you're writing just to write, I mean, go ahead, go for it. See how it turns out. There's no harm in it. But if you give it to 10 people and none of them like it, you might want to try to figure out a more steady path to what your story is. So knowing the ending is a big part of a movie. I mean, that's what they're going to end on. So it should be a good part, whatever that is. And it's going to determine the whole tone of the whole thing. I just watched Axel Foley, the Eddie Murphy movie on Netflix, and it's like the ending was a happy-go-lucky movie, and I think they knew their ending the moment they decided to make that movie. They knew it was going to be a happy, everybody kicks ass kind of movie. And if everybody dies in the end, it's a totally different kind of movie. So, like Titanic, so you gotta know your ending. If you know your ending, it's gonna be a much better journey for you. I think it would be an easier journey to write it if you know your ending. But like I said, it just depends what kind of writer you are. Some people, they're really, really good at just sitting down and creating a story and putting themselves in that lead character's position and going, well, what would happen here? What would happen? What would I do here? What would I do there? And what would make this more interesting? Oh, maybe if this happened or that. So there's no exact science to it, and I wasn't sitting there near all these filmmakers that when they wrote it, there's tons of amazing movies out there and we don't really know what the writer did to get those amazing stories. So I don't think there's one right answer to do it.
You'd mentioned previously that until we give it to 10 people, theoretically, and they tell us yes or no, do you think we think we're a savant until we go to those 10 people, and then the world shows us, you know what, actually we didn't understand this part here. It's not that it's not good, it's just, how is that to continually get feedback and realize, okay, maybe I'm not one of the chosen ones and I really do have to hunker down and...
Gosh, you're talking about ego at that point.
Or skill, too?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think in any field in life, if you have people telling you that you're good at it, you generally keep going in that direction. I think it's a very fine line. There's very few people that you say you're horrible at it and they try harder. Now, there are those exceptions out there. It just depends how you're built. 1 in 1,000, you tell them they stink and they go, F you, I'm going and kicking ass and I'm going to prove you wrong. Most people aren't like that, Some people are and some people get that and it serves them very well. But a lot of people, it's like, oh, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. Oh, this isn't so good. And oh, wait, it's not so good. This is not something I hear all the time. What are you talking about? So, and it also depends on what stage you're at. If you're just starting out in film and you've never made a feature, take it easy on yourself. Take in the criticism. Try to learn from it. I think so many people are so hard on themselves and they think their first feature or first short film is going to change their career. Be in that learning position, But I think being in that learning position, I think is the hardest thing is to keep making stuff. If you can pump out 10 short films in a year, you're going to be really good at making short films the next year, especially if you're taking criticism. But I think you ultimately, to do any art form, you're going to have ego attached to it. And you need to massage the ego enough to drive you forward and at the same time not have too much ego to take in criticism to make you better.
Well, it takes some ego to want to put things out there, whatever it is, in whatever form. And so in some sense, ego gets a bad rap Because I think without ego, then you're just this little mouse and you won't do anything. So, I think you need to spread the feathers and
I think
walk that catwalk.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a good thing to have an ego, and it's a good thing to keep yourself in check at the same time. But everybody thinks they're special in a way. Every human being that has any confidence thinks they're special in a way. There's nothing wrong with that. Most people that are good at something realize that it takes a lot of work to be good at it. And they realize they're special, but it doesn't come without effort. And the more effort you put into it, usually the better result you get, the more praise you get, and all that kind of stuff. So having an ego is a good thing. But when you're at the top, can you still learn? That's what it comes to my mind when I think about ego, is sometimes you hear horror stories on set of this person's nasty or that person's nasty. And it's really funny because these people got so lucky to be there, and there's definitely luck involved in like almost every case. Like there's very few people that have so much gravitas or so much talent that they're just undeniable. It's usually you met the right person or you got lucky with this or that. So to be in those positions, they're so lucky to begin with. And I always think if I ever got in a position, just to hopefully stay as humble as possible, because you're lucky to be there. But a lot of people that get to the top, they want to do something else, or they want to do whatever. And I'm like, you've already won the lottery. Like, do what so many people want to do. Act in that big movie or direct big movies. You have an opportunity, take advantage of it, and feel good about it.
Well, it can also be maybe a gilded cage in some ways. If you're at a certain level, I mean, not that I would know, but you just see certain people aren't able to really do other things. Maybe they can, but their career would be highly criticized. So in a sense, it's a gilded cage. They're kind of trapped.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's human journey in life is different. What is making you happy is a huge part of that. And who you're surrounded with is a huge part of that. Some of the people that you see that have 20-year careers and stuff, I think a lot of that has to do with the friends they surround themselves with, the family they surround themselves, the support system. Because if you get too much into the glitz and glamour and all that kind of stuff, it can erase who you are in a way. You don't remember what grounds you as a human being. So, you gotta kind of build that up too as you're building your career, building your knowledge, building everything, and building your nest, that makes you strong, makes you know who you are, and, keeps you grounded and focused. So.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I was just watching this young YouTuber, and he said, and forgive me on the name, I'll try to put it in the below the line section, but he used the example of Pearl, the movie Pearl, and her desire to want to be famous and not having a support system, and he compared it to Marilyn Monroe. And then those that did have a strong family, and how when things are going great, who cares, but when they're really bad, that's when you really need that support system.
Well, so, making movies, the entertainment industry is a crazy industry. Music and movies are both crazy in the sense that there's so many people trying to make money off of art, which is such a weird thing because you make art. The real reason somebody makes art is never really because of money. The people that are inspired to do it are inspired for another reason. I can't imagine anyone that ever made an amazing movie like Titanic. He didn't make it going, man, we're going to make $1 billion. I really want to tell this story to make $1 billion. No, he had a story in his heart. He wanted to tell it and he did it. And it just turned into that. But then you have all these people below and around him that want to make money. And so to keep him working, healthy or not healthy, they want to keep him working. So it's a really weird industry in that way. There's tons of leeches in a way. People, I can't say leeches. People that want to survive off of your talent if you're really talented. So, and that might help you. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but they might not have your mental health the top on their priority list. And so you better do that for yourself.